I am Tracy Lira. I'm a Havertown resident, and I am part of the HCAN group in their climate action group. So one of the things that we do is try to help people, to become more environmentally aware and figure out changes that they can do to help mitigate climate change. So today we're going to talk about buying renewable power for your home. So if you do not choose a electricity supplier, you basically just get what PECO provides. This is a kind of a snapshot of what the mix of electricity looks like. So you're getting about 40% nuclear, about 34% natural gas, there's 20% coal, there's 4% renewable, and then the 1% just some oil or other things. But as you can see, it's not a very clean mix. So in Pennsylvania, you can choose. So you get to choose, where your money goes, whether it's into that dirty mix of a lot of primarily fossil fuels and nuclear, or if you want to put it into renewable like solar and wind. Not that many people are buying green energy right now. So this is kind of just a snapshot where you can see here the year 2018, 17, and 16, how many customer accounts were buying green power compared to the total number on the right-hand side. So you can see it's not a very large percentage. The other point that we wanted to make here is what's considered green power here by the Pennsylvania, the AEPS, the Alternative Energy Portfolio Standards. It's not very clean. It is as you can see at the bottom, 0.5% solar, and then 8% of this kind of mix of things, some which are clean like wind, but then it also includes some byproducts or I guess waste products of fossil fuels. There's a company called PJM Interconnect. So they are actually managing the grid, and they are determining the source, if it's clean or where it comes from. So everyone that's generating electricity is reporting how they're generating it to them, and then they have that information for us to see. So this is, you can see, it's hard to tell here on the map, but this is like the northeastern United States. We're kind of around here somewhere. So it looks like we are mostly in the coal section. But you can see right here again, it's 5% renewable. So it's not a very clean electricity mix that you're getting. So what can you do? You can choose to switch your electricity provider to one that provides 100% renewable electricity. So the point that we want to make here is that it can be very cost competitive. You can get rates that are even lower than the PECO standard rate to compare, which is what you're paying now if you haven't chosen a different supplier. PECO will still be your distributor. They'll still send you your bill. They would still be the company that you call if there's any kind of outage or disruption in your service. It's really a seamless transition. All the suppliers that we're going to talk about and show you have been vetted by the Pennsylvania Public Utilities Commission. You can choose the details of your plan. There's a lot of different options, and it's easy as long as you look out for a few of the pitfalls that we're going to mention here. This is a snapshot of someone's electricity bill. So what you see here, the first section is the electric delivery, and that is going to be PECO. So regardless of who you choose, for your supplier, this part remains PECO, and this charge, is always going to be there. So the part that you do have a choice over here is the lower section, electricity supply. This one is someone who has chosen a different supplier, so Clearview Electric. And you can see here, the cost is actually lower than that on the previous slide here, this PECO rate to compare, which is 0.0659. Here it's 0.0599. So this is a little cheaper, but it is 100% renewable. So this is what it would look like if you did change your supplier. This is what your bill would look like. Same PECO bill, just it would have this other name right here. This is just to give you an idea of the usage of the usage section of the electricity bill. This is an EV owner, so the usage is a little higher for charging the car. But this is where you can see, you can go in there and you can get a feel for your average monthly usage, your average annual usage. It's all there on your PECO bill. So when you're thinking about what kind of supplier you would want for electricity, there's a lot of different options. There's some that are independently owned. There's some that have a parent company. Green Mountain is a big one that a lot of people have heard of and maybe some people use, but it is owned by a larger company that is a fossil fuel company, Energy. So if some people care about that and they don't want that, other people don't mind because the Green Mountain piece is still producing renewable energy. If you're looking for something local, we have the Energy Co-op. They're a local nonprofit. There even have been some that with the money that you pay each month, they contribute some to a nonprofit. So there's a lot of different options out there. There are two ways to do it. What we're calling the easy way is this website, makebenproud. Peter, did you want to go through and just give a quick demo of that now?
Sure. Well, why don't you go through these next few slides, and then I will turn it back to me, and I will just jump over to the website and show people what it looks like live.
Okay, sounds good. So this website, it's super easy if you're in the PECO or PPL service area. It was created by Joel from Abington. They've done a lot of research and they have it all here in a very easy to compare format. So this is a screenshot of what the site looks like. You can choose to sort. There's some options. You can just click here, sort rates lowest to highest. That's what I do. But if you want to narrow it by wind, Pennsylvania, Green E audited, contracts over 1 year, there's some criteria here. But here you'll see these are the different companies, a phone number to call them if you're interested, you want to learn more or sign up. It gives a little description of what they're offering. So 100% renewable, mainly wind, nationwide. Some of them might be local, some of them might have some solar, some like here, this one down here, Brighton, it says undisclosed renewables, so they don't know what it is, but it's 100% renewable. The next column gives you some information on what the actual contract is. So all the rates are fixed on here, but they could be for different durations. So 12 months, and this points out that there's a cancellation fee of $50. Here's a 6 month. So you get a feel for what you are, what the contract includes. So this one, this Clearview Energy one, so there's one up here, there's another one down here. They have multiple plans. This one has a $10 a month base fee and a $50 cancellation fee. So, if you don't want to have certain fees, you can see that here and you can avoid those. And then the last column is the rate. And I don't see it in the screenshot, but it will, since it sorts them from lowest to highest, the PECO rate will show up in here wherever, wherever it falls in that line. So anything above it will be cheaper than the current PECO rate. Anything after it would be more expensive than the PECO rate. So here it is on this next slide. So it's just farther down. Here's the PECO price to compare. So everything above this, the previous slide in here, was cheaper than what you would be currently paying PECO. And then everything after is more expensive. And like I said, they're all fixed contracts. With some of the other sites, or a lot of the ones you know, maybe you have someone calling you, trying to sell you something. You never know. You know, some of those rates are variable. Like it might be for 3 months and then it goes up. Everything here is pretty clear. It's fixed and it tells you the duration right there. As the prices go up, you know, you start to see more solar or local. So here's one 100% Pennsylvania solar. So most of the renewable energy you find in here is wind, and most of it is, you know, not in Pennsylvania. So 100% Pennsylvania solar is not very common. You can see it is a lot more. But if that's something you want to support and you have the funds to do so, you know, you have that flexibility here as well. So like I said, it only includes fixed rates. So if, you know, if there's something you've seen that is a variable rate, you're not going to find it here. If you're open to variable rates, you know, maybe this isn't the place to look, but I think most people, you know, want that comfort of knowing that their rate's not going to just suddenly go up 1 month to the next. And as I mentioned before, also all the companies on here are tracked and regulated by the PUC. PJM, the grid operator, tracks the source of power for the PUC. And some offers are not generating renewable power themselves, but it's based on purchasing RECs. So RECs are renewable energy credits. And basically what that means is somebody generated renewable energy, and then the company would buy that REC or renewable energy from them. And then they now own the rights to that renewable energy that was generated. So there is a video here. We're not going to show it now, but we could, if anyone's interested, we could send this link out, and you could, you know, watch the video that explains a little bit more. Also, and we can answer questions too. Feel free to put questions in the chat if you want to know a little bit more about the RECs. And then we also mentioned the Green E, which is an audit program that it's a little higher level of assurance. So, you know, PJM is tracking what is being generated, but the Green E is just kind of another level, an audit program that just gives you that higher level of assurance that you really are buying renewable energy. So I think before we jump into the next one, I will hand it back over to Peter.
Okay, so hopefully you can see my screen, yes?
Yes.
With the windmills turning. So this is, as Tracy said, this is a really refreshingly simple site, and you'll see the contrast between this and the PA power switch. So you could shop very, very easily in the PECO area, so renewable electricity rates. As Tracy said, if you're interested in price, well, sort them low to high, right? You can click on any of these other, you know, if you're focused on promoting regional power, you can pick PA regional, et cetera. But all of those are now sorted and shown in this lineup, okay? And so it's as simple as, well, they are eliminating contracts that are month to month. And, you know, I have to say that a month-to-month contract is something you really do not want because um, offers that are introductory, offers that you might get over the phone tend to be a little scammy, right? So they sound good, but they may be an introductory price for 3 months. And then what happens after 3 months? They go month to month and notifications not required when the rate changes, and the rates may change wildly. So the great thing about Make Ben Proud is they've imposed this restriction that they're only going to show you something that has a fixed term. So 6 months are up generally. So they may have cancellation fees, which is not a problem if you know that it's a fixed contract and you're okay with the price. You know, you can do that. I would look out for this monthly fee because obviously that changes the pricing. Um, so you go down the list and you have any one of these choices. And this site is true of any of these sites. You could see that there are links to the website for the company that's making the offer. And so you can jump to there. And generally, you know, you have to do some additional things like put in your zip code, and then you can actually shop. And the pricing, if you're a PECO customer, very, very easy. If you're already buying from another provider and the one thing that you really want to make sure is that your contract is getting ready to expire before you shop. Otherwise, you may have a penalty for early out of the contract. But if you look at the offers, you see even more than what was included on um, that was included on the Make Ben Proud website, which is typical, you know, and you really have to look at the details. Um, so I noticed there's nothing that talks about a monthly fee on here. So one of the things that you really have to be careful about is that you look at the details of the plan before you pull the trigger and actually sign up. So I wanted to share one other thing with you about why we say, well, the process is simple, but there's a few things you need to do. Uh, you know, buy a defined term and put on your calendar what happens after that. So actually, the example bill I'll reveal was mine, the PECO bill. So I had a 1-year fixed rate plan. It's getting set to expire. I just got this letter in the mail and it looks great. And it's like, well, your fixed rate plan will renew. Well, that sounds great. Am I going to get another fixed rate plan? So they're giving me a rate, which is the same rate that I have now, but notice one thing that's different. It's now a month-to-month price. So one of the things that I know from experience buying Renewable is that month-to-month prices are month-to-month, usually for a very good reason, which is to say that the provider wants to raise the rates as you go on. So that's happened in the past. So what I am doing as a result of this is I'm actually looking. I went to their website to see, gee, do they have fixed term contracts? And indeed they do. And they have some that are actually lower than the price they offered me month to month. So the one thing that I have to make sure is none of these plans have hidden fees. And I don't think, well, the thing is I'm already a customer, so I'm really going to have to contact them. But this is, you know, what's the term? 12 months, fixed price. Does it have terms of service? You really have to dig for that sort of thing. So you may not know if it has a fee associated with it. Now, one of the things that until you look at the terms of service, so it's got a cancellation fee. At any rate, this is probably something that I will do a phone with the company because I am an existing customer. And so I want to convey to them that this is a renewal that's going to start on the expiration of my current one. Yep.
Okay, so PA power switch, what Peter was just talking about, it used to be used a lot. Now it's not used quite as much, but we'll go through it anyway, just at a high level so you can see the differences. So the website PA Power Switch, you go in, you're not brought immediately to the screen. You do have to enter your zip code on an earlier screen first, and then click regular residential, and then see full results, and then it'll bring you to this screen. So when you're on here, you do have the PECO price to compare. I think this is an older screenshot, so the price is a little higher. But it'll be the current price. And then, as Peter was showing, you have all these filters on the side. So price low to high is always a good way so that you can see the prices. And then fixed, you want to select a fixed price. So whereas Make Ben Proud, they automatically were all fixed. Here, if you don't choose this box down here, it will give you the variable rates as well. You can also choose, you have some choices on fees. You can say no monthly fee, no cancellation fee. I mean, if you get a good rate, I don't think the cancellation fee is as important to worry about, but if that's something you care about, then make sure you don't have that. I think no monthly fee, probably most people don't want. Also, where at Make Ben Proud, it was all renewable. PA Power Switch is all offers. So unless you choose this renewable checkbox, probably most of the things you see are not going to be renewable. And then filter. You also have options here for like PA wind or all PA renewables. But they're the selections are not as much, and they do tend to cost more. So if that's something you care about, definitely choose that. But if not, just make sure you hit this renewable energy box.
I did figure out what went wrong. If I can take this back for just a second. Sure. So the auto lookup of my zip code returned the zip +4, and apparently the website didn't like it. So when you put in your zip code, you also have to click residential rates, and then so this is an unsorted view of all the rates. You can revise it and revise the price low to high, and then click search again. It always asks you, are you residential, regular residential? So here you're seeing any energy, including some very low costs, which tend to be, so these are 3 months, they tend to be short term. The objective, I think, of a lot of companies in offering these is to get you to choose it and then go to sleep. And then when the term is up, they can offer you a lot higher rates. So I'm going to look for renewable energy. And so now I'm seeing renewable, but also, short-term contracts. And if I want to look for longer-term contracts, I can add a term length. So let's say I want 12 months. Now you can see the rates are a little bit higher, but still below PECO's price to compare for a few of these. Now, interestingly, you're not seeing some of the offers that you see on Make Ben Proud. Why? Because these are only put up when the company wants to put them up. And Make Ben Proud is sort of scouring the available offers and posting them up. So that's the difference. So Tracy, if you're ready, I'm going to pass it back to you.
Sure. So one other thing about PA Power Switch is, even though you select renewable energy, you could be getting something that is just a little bit renewable. So you can see here, renewable energy 14%. This one's 100%. So if you're looking for 100% renewable, make sure you're seeing that 100% there. But for Make Ben Proud, they're all, that was kind of right out there, and I think they're all 100%. But it was kind of like right there in the column, 100% renewable, wind, whatever. It was very clear. It's not as clear here. You have to, look in some of the smaller print and make sure you're seeing that, even though you did choose renewable. It could be as low as 4%, which is what's on the grid anyway. So just something else to be aware of.
Yeah, by the way, I do want to mention it's actually a good time to buy renewable energy. I think one of the reasons why there are more better offers on PA Power Switch than there have been over the last year or two is due to the COVID situation. Energy power consumption is significantly down, probably roughly 5%. It does vary by region, but so a lot of sellers have more power on their hands, so they're more eager to offer a better price to get customers.
Yeah, so now's a good time to switch. So some of the things that you may want to consider beyond just cost. I know cost is probably the most important thing for a lot of people, but there are other things like the source. So most of what we buy around this area is wind, but solar is an option, and there are companies that have a higher percentage of solar if that's something you're interested in. The RECs that I mentioned earlier, people can sell the rights to the energy they generated, and you could purchase that location. Some of it's, right there in PA, some of it's regional, some of it's US. I know a lot comes from Texas. So if, you want something more local, that's another thing you could consider. Some of the pitfalls that you want to be aware of so that you can avoid them are, people calling you on the phone, or also, sometimes at like festivals and stuff, I know like some of the companies have tables and they try to pull you over. But, just being really clear on the contract. So is it an introductory rate? Is there a monthly fee? Is there a cancellation fee? Is it a variable price or a fixed price? What happens when that fixed price period is over? How will you be notified? So that you can, lock in another fixed rate before you get on that variable month-to-month rate. So here's just some ideas or our thoughts on, how you can do it without succumbing to those pitfalls or, ending up with a bigger bill than you were expecting. So if you do want to switch, make sure the current supplier you have won't penalize you for leaving early. So are you in a term contract right now? And if you are, is there a penalty for leaving? If not, then you're good to go. Make sure you shop around, understand the terms of what you're looking at, what you're considering. Call them, if you're not sure, just give them a call and clarify exactly what it is. What questions to ask, what fees they have, what is the term, what is the rate, all of that. We recommend choosing a fixed term contract because, with those short terms or those variable rates, you never really know month to month what your rate is going to be. Accepting a fee possibly for cancellation. If you have a rate, you're comfortable with it for the duration, maybe you don't mind a cancellation fee. And, before you finalize it, just really talk to the person, make sure you understand there's no hidden fees or this isn't a, introductory promotion rate, anything. Just, really reiterating that point to make sure you understand all the points of the contract and, ask any questions so that you make sure you have them all answered. So even the fixed contracts, they're all going to raise their price at some point. So like what Peter was showing, where his 12 months ran out and he got this thing in the mail and it's offering this rate, but it's month to month. So after a few months, that price is probably going to go up. I used to have Green Mountain and that happened to me. My contract was up and I wasn't staying on top of it, and suddenly I look at my bill and my rate went up. So we recommend that you put some kind of reminder in your calendar, whether it's paper calendar, you just write it down. If you have like a Google Calendar or wherever you keep track of things, put some sort of reminder that's going to pop up in maybe 11 months from now, or if you signed a 12-month contract in 11 months, it's like, hey, this is going to reminder, this is going to expire in a month. It's time to start shopping around so that you're ready when that contract's over, you have a new rate and you don't get caught in that increased rate once the contract is up. Most of them do send you a notification before a month or so before your rate's going to expire. But, just in case that doesn't come through, it's always good to have that calendar reminder. So when you do get the reminder, whether it's, popped up in your phone, you got a letter, the easiest thing to do is just call the company that you're already with and ask for a better rate. And sometimes they'll give you a good offer. If not, then start your search again. Go to makebenproud and see what other companies are offering. It really, it says here like 20 minutes. It really isn't that time consuming once you understand what you're getting into. So being aware of the different types of rates, being aware of the fees, and then just making sure you give them a call and you understand the terms. You spend 20 minutes one day and then you're good for another year. And yeah, I mean, maybe you'll find the perfect company. You'll have, you'll know exactly where the power is coming from. You know that, you know why you want to buy renewable. So if they're supporting those reasons, maybe it's you want to support local, renewable energy development in Pennsylvania, and that's what you found. Whatever it is, but find what works for you, and then lock in, and then you don't have to worry about it. And then you know that you are supporting renewable energy. Peter, did you want to maybe go to questions before we jump into these other things?
Sure. Someone asked about whether, that someone noted, hey, they're required by law to send a notice 60 and 45 days before the fixed term ends. Yes. In years past, it's probably 4 or 5 years ago, I was in a situation where I don't think I received that. And so they're not necessarily all complying as they should. I did want to mention also that, some very simple advice with regard for shopping for renewable, which is if someone calls you, don't buy. If you go to a street fair and someone's selling renewable energy, it's probably going to be at a higher contract price or terms that you're not really considering and understanding at the time. That's really a bad way to buy. If you're interested in, unless you're just interested in supporting the company, but in all likelihood, you're going to have a higher price and maybe not as favorable a contract length or even a variable price. So this approach, very simple, 1, 2, 3, make Ben proud. Hopefully Joel continues to maintain the site, is really and set your calendar. And that's a very, very simple way to do it. worth pointing out that if you have solar panels, you should check carefully about choosing an alternative supplier. That's actually a very special case. So people who have home solar may be generating 50 to 100+% of their power. And not very many alternative suppliers will sell you power if you're doing net metering with solar. And so this is something that is a little more complicated for folks that have home solar. And both Tracy and Melissa have home solar, so maybe you can speak to that.
This is Tracy. So yeah, we got solar panels in the end of last year, and we were with Green Mountain at the time, and they did not support the net metering, which basically means, you know, I could still pay them, but they would not pay me if I generated more than I used. So we are, you know, based on our estimates, you know, we are going to be generating more than we use. So we, you know, we didn't want to stick with them. So for the time being, we're back with PECO just because we will be, you know, I don't think we'll really be buying, you know, buying their electricity. We should be generating more and then they're paying us. So that was the decision we made. But I know Melissa's in a different situation. So Melissa, did you want to speak about your situation?
Yes. Hi, I'm Melissa. I'm a Havertown resident. I also just installed solar panels back in November, and I currently buy renewable energy through AEP. Our solar panels actually cover only about 75 to 80% of our electric use. Because we do have quite a few trees and a little bit of shading, and our roof wasn't oriented the right way. So we don't generate 100% of our electricity. So I usually have maybe like a $5 electric bill through my supplier. And because we have the panels, we still purchase electricity through them because we don't generate enough. So in my case, it works out fine. But if I was generating more power from my solar panels, I probably would not have. Peter?
Okay. If there's no more questions, let's continue through the slides.
Okay, so some other things that you can do beyond switching your electricity supplier. Solar, you know, while we're on the topic, solar panels for your home. There's currently a initiative going on in Delaware County called Solarize, and the information is there, but it's basically a group buying program, or, you know, buying solar as a group to get a better price. So you kind of group up with your neighbors. The Solarize is run by volunteers, and they're basically trying to help facilitate the process to make it easier for the buyers. So Melissa and I both bought our solar panels through the Solarize program last year, and they take all the, you know, the running around out of it for you. The supplier, the installer is chosen and vetted, so you don't have to, you know, talk to a bunch of different companies and try to pick which one you want to do. You know, that's done. You just, you know, give them your address, they give you an estimate, and then, you know, you can choose to move forward or not. They answer all your questions and really help facilitate the process. So if that's something you're interested in, you can email that Gmail address there. And there's also a webinar this coming Saturday to learn more about that. There's also, you know, buy an electric vehicle. Sorry, go ahead.
Do you want to talk about the federal credit?
Oh, yeah, good point. So for 2020, there is a 26% federal tax credit for solar panels. So basically you get whatever, you know, the cost is, you can claim 26% of that cost as a credit on your federal taxes. So that's usually, you know, a good size chunk off your taxes. So you can buy an electric vehicle. I think, Melissa, there's still a tax credit for that as well.
That's correct. And we're actually going to do a webinar on transitioning to electric vehicles, and that's coming up in the schedule.
Next
if anyone,
Wednesday.
yeah, if anyone hasn't received information about that, let us know and we can forward it. But there, there is a little bit of a fear factor for a lot of people about getting into electric vehicles, but it's actually a manageable transition and cost competitive with a conventional vehicle. So be happy to have you join us for that one as well.
Okay. There's also PECO will do an audit of your house. I had them come out, and they go around. They go in the attic, they go in the basement, they look at all your windows. They take like thermal photographs. They came out to my house in the middle of winter, and they took photos of my windows and doors, and you could see where like cold air was coming through. They gave us I don't know, it's like a smart power strip, one that turns things off when they're not in use. They gave us a bunch of LED light bulbs. It's a minimal cost, but it's a good value. You get, they give you stuff that adds up to more than the cost of the audit. And I thought the pictures were pretty cool too, just to see where maybe we want to add a little ceiling around the windows and things like that. That was helpful. If you have any questions, after this, you're going through one of the Make Ben Proud, and you're not sure about something, or you want to ask us a question, we have the haveswitch@gmail.com email address, so you can email us there, and we'll get back to you as quick as we can to answer your questions. And then there is this last link, the Cool Climate Calculator. It's just a cool tool you can use to measure your carbon footprint, and it asks some questions about your energy usage and what kind of car and things like that, and it'll give you a pretty good estimate of your carbon footprint. So
I could show you that real quickly. Hopefully you're seeing my screen. So this is the Cool Climate Berkeley website, and so it sort of starts from a default of, the average person. You can enter demographic information, and it's very simple to use, and how many people live in your household. Whoops. It kind of does a real time. So you see, the interesting thing is it gives you like a graphical average person, where is the carbon being generated. It remembers I have an electric vehicle. Interesting. It's remembering the values that I had before. So I switched from electric to gasoline. And it changes, I don't know why it's still showing as electric here, but it changes you saw the car fuel value go up. So you can really play with, hey, this is my carbon footprint now. If I buy a more efficient gasoline powered car, it's going to do, let's say I buy a Prius. It's going to reduce the car fuel component. If I buy a full-size SUV, all right, whoop, my fuel use went up a lot. So it's a pretty interesting tool. It's got a lot of other things in it, like air travel. You'll notice on the right-hand side, it's got, well, what do we eat? So meat eaters involves, the source of your food and so forth. Anyway, we're actually going to do a whole webinar on the subject of sort of the whole picture of using this tool. So I just wanted to show that to you.
Okay, so before we end, are there any other questions? We talked about renewable electricity, the renewable power. We talked about RECs, Green E certified. There were a lot of terms thrown out there. Does Are there any other questions that haven't been answered yet?
Oh, well, there could be a typo on this thing. It is literally just the words makebenproud.com.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
sorry about that.
That's all right. Just wanted to make sure I knew what was right.
That's a
But
great
the,
website.
I've enjoyed the webinar. Thank you very much.
Are you planning to buy Renewable?
I have bought Renewable. I have bought Green Mountain, and then I renewed Green Mountain, but I think I'll look into what was it?
Clearview. So, and
Clearview.
Clearview, I actually use Clearview. So it's basically out of state
Uh-huh.
wind power. And it's just the nature, I think, of the wind map in the United States that
Sure.
Texas wind is a lower cost wind. I think there's a lot of wind in, the Midwest from Iowa up to Illinois and Indiana. And so you're basically buying, you're buying the credits from that generation of the wind. You're not,
Right.
the electrons are not actually coming up from Texas, but you're promoting wind power somewhere, basically.
Yes, right. Well, and I think we need to really discuss this with our residents in Newtown Square. So that's why I've linked in today to
Well,
follow what
excellent.
you're doing.
Excellent. And if you want to host an event, and we'll be happy to support you if you want to publicize it through the township.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad I spoke up because that sounds like a great offer.
So any other questions? All right. So what you're seeing on screen now is the Friends of Haverford EAC Facebook page. And so we've posted the events, all of the webinar events on that page. If you want to follow us, if we post new ones, you'll be able to see them as they come up. But there's a whole interesting schedule from solar home to energy efficiency to electric vehicle transition. We're doing our first ever, I don't know how good it is, I'm hoping it's going to be great, on investing and disinvesting in fossil fuel greenhouse gas intensive businesses. Someone is asking, what is the email to get in touch with you all in the future? I'll give you my email address, but there is also haveswitch@gmail.com. If you want someone to hold your hand through buying renewable power, that's a good email to use. So the email I'm posting in the question and answer, hopefully you can see it, is my personal or my business email. If anyone, certainly if any of you in any of your townships want to hold an event and promote it through the township or through your EAC or through any other local organization that you think you can get good attendance, maybe a church group, we'll be happy to hold an event for you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for this evening? Give you all one last shot at it. Otherwise, we appreciate any comments that you have. 1, 2, 3, go out and do it. Use Make Ben Proud. Set your calendar. Buy Renewable. Save the planet.
Right
Tell your friends and family.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you.
You all for presenters and panelists, Tracy and Melissa. This is Peter Puglianese signing off. Thank you all very much.